morning, it's day two. It's about 6:30. I slept really good, slept 9 hours. I woke up at 3:30 to pee, went back in, laid down, and fell back to sleep for a little bit, so that was nice. But it's starting to get light. I did already go, I got Kevin off the tree, and just as I did, it started raining. So it's supposed to rain today. It didn't rain at all last night, which it was supposed to, and it was supposed to be down into like the low 50s, mid 50s. It's 61 degrees right now, so we didn't even get that cold. So this morning, first thing, I'm going to be wet. I put my wet socks on, my wet shoes, because I got to go cross this creek again anyway. So they're going to get wet. That's going to be cold. But I did pack up my quilts and stuff. Got my clothes in there, just to get it out of the way. It gets in the way when I'm eating. And so now, I think by the time I eat breakfast and then have some coffee, I think by then it'll be light out and I'll be on my way. So that's the plan for this morning. It is a little after 8 a.m. and I'm back on the trail. Had to cross that creek. It wasn't bad. I think it actually dropped. The levels dropped a little bit from yesterday because it didn't quite make it up over my knees this morning. But back on trail. It's cool. It's about 63 degrees. It's humid. And it's just a really, really moody day. Gray skies. I am sure we're going to get, well, can't say I'm sure because the weatherman said we're going to get rain, but I just don't believe it all the time. So I got about 10.5 miles left from when I left camp. So it should be a nice easy hike out today. No rush. Just going to take my time and mosey on out. Did you hear that? A chainsaw. Somebody's logging on the old loggers path. I'm guessing I'm about 2.5 miles, so probably roughly 8 miles left to go. But anyway, come out to this road, and in 2019, Lance and I got really lost at this point. We were coming this way, we're going clockwise, and today I'm going counterclockwise, but we came out here, and if you know, you go across the road and there's the blaze. But in 2019, when we came through, it was all overgrown, like you couldn't see that. So we started walking up and back and walked up this way up the road a little bit, and there was like a red blaze. Walked back down here. Anyway, we couldn't find the orange blaze. We just never came down back this far. So what ended up happening is we followed the red blazes, and I remember because it was so funny, because Lance read the actual guidebook, and because you know I never read the books, I kind of skim through them, but he read it and it specifically said at this point, do not follow the red blazes. It was like the irony of it. So anyway, we followed the blazes, those red blazes, all around, because we looked on all trails and it looked like the trail with the red blaze was only like, I don't know, 30 feet over, which it was. And the thing is, you know, I don't trust all trails because it's wrong a lot of the time. So I just figured, oh, the trail really is there and all trails is just off by a little bit. Well, we were wrong. Well, I was wrong. Lance was right. And we ended up hiking probably 4 or 5 miles out of the way, only to come back to this exact point. And then we finally, because we started walking the other way, we kind of looked and we saw the orange blaze and went on our way. But yeah, we added a couple more hours onto our trip, and it was down around this fenced-in area. And it was up this really steep hill. It's a logging area, and they're actually doing logging there now. But yeah, that was a fun trip, man. That was a fun trip, Lance. on Sharp Top Vista, and or maybe it's Sharp Point Vista. I think it's Sharp Top Vista, but anyway, this is roughly, I think, at mile 7.5 or 8, going clockwise. And about mile 20 if you're going counterclockwise. But this is a spectacular view. This is one of the best ones in Pennsylvania. There's two views that I think are the best, and that's this one, and there's the one, I cannot remember it, but it's on the Standing Stone Trail. The Standing Stone Trail has a lot of really beautiful views, just like this. Very wide, where you can see, it's not a 360, but it's close, and very, very beautiful view. I think I might sit here and just have a cup of coffee and just look at the view for a while. All right, I'm heading back onto the trail, but what an absolutely gorgeous place to stop and relax and have a coffee. It's very peaceful up here, beautiful. The sun's coming out, it's blue skies. I don't know, but I'm liking it, and the humidity's starting to drop. But my next stop is Sprout Point Vista, and that's another very beautiful vista, and there's a shelter there, so I'll show you that. And that's probably 3-4 miles from here, so a couple hours. I've been climbing now for a good, I'd say an hour. It's a good couple miles, and I still got a way to go up. I mean, it's a steep up, long, but I'm at the Sprout Point Vista, and this is the second shelter, and it's back here. This one's not right on the trail. You have to kind of take a side trail, but it's only like, I don't know, 50 to 100 yards or something back to it, and then there's another maybe 25 yards to the Vista. So let's go back and check out the shelter. Here is the Sprout Point Vista shelter. It's another Adirondack style shelter. Very nice shelters on this trail. There's a couple firings here. You could probably hang a hammock here, maybe some other ones, but you're really not going to find a tent spot, maybe on the Vista. But the shelter areas here, and we're going to go check out the Vista here in a minute. But the shelters on this trail are really, they're not, like I said in my other videos, they're not shelter areas. You'd be pretty hard pressed to do tents at any of the shelters. Hammocks, I mean, all you need is trees. If you can figure it out, you probably get it to work. But yeah, they're definitely like, you stay in the shelters on this trail, but they're very, very nice shelters. Sprout Point Vista, very, very beautiful. And here, you could probably put a tent and probably hang a hammock or two here. I'm not sure if you're allowed to, but I would suspect you are. There's no signs you can't. But very, very beautiful view. And if you notice, it's turning out to be a very beautiful day. Time to go back to the trail. I got about 4 miles till the end. This shelter the Sprout Point shelter is about 4 miles from the trailhead, going clockwise. The Doe Run shelter is about 10 miles from the trailhead when you're going counterclockwise. The Doe Run shelter is kind of right on the trail, and the Sprout Point Vista shelter, you have to go about, 50 to 100 yards off the trail. There's a little side trail to get to it. It's not far. I can tell you there's no lack of water on this trail. I mean, the trail is the water here, but it's been wet. The trail's been kind of wet, but there has been not one single dry water source. As I'm going along today, I've been thinking, because I really love this trail, and I was just thinking of like what were my favorite backpacking trips over the years, and two jump out at me. One was one I just had this past August with my niece Carly, which was we did a part of the Susquehannock Trail, did a loop, shorter loop, but it was a 3-day trip. Part of that trail was a part that I've never done, so experiencing that for the first time. It was a lower mile trip for me. It was the farthest my niece went, and we just had a really good time, a lot of laughs, and it was just fun. And the other trip that comes to mind was this trail back in 2019 with Lance. That was another favorite trip. I mean, we did it in June. We went the opposite direction, went clockwise. And I've never done this trail before, and he had never done it before either. And we ended up through like 2 or 3 thunderstorms, and I'm talking like tons of lightning and downpours. The video's out there. You can go back and watch it. I think I have a playlist for Old Loggers Path, but 2019, and we got lost, which was my fault. Got lost for a couple miles and for hours and hours, and finally ended up just camping in a spot where just in the woods, which I did see that spot yesterday, and it's now a campsite. I mean, we didn't make a fire ring or anything. It was just a flat spot, so I guess somebody else decided to make it a campsite. But anyway, you know, hiking along, we camped out, and then the next day hiking out, and it was just a tough trail. And I think that was a trip like right near the end. Lance actually tore his calf hiking. So, I mean, it was like, you know, they always say some of the, you know, the worst things that happen to you make for the best trails, the best trip after the fact. But yeah, that was another fun trip, and really enjoyed that trip. Back down to the road, but technically it's still the trail, still got blazes. Working my way back to the car. It's not far, but I have to say I really enjoyed this trip. It was lower miles, no stress on time frames. I mean, right now it's only 1:45. You know, normally when I do trips, I don't get done until like late at night, you know, because I hike big miles every day. So I'm liking this. I'm really liking this, but I really enjoyed this because it was a solo trip, and I haven't had a solo trip since I think May. So probably a little over 4 months since I've been on a solo trip, and it's long overdue. It was very much long overdue. But it was very relaxing. I love this trail. It is tough. It is challenging. It might be short, but it is not an easy trail, to say the least. So it's also not one of the hardest trails in Pennsylvania, but it's, you know, not the easiest either. So I'm gonna make it back to the car as soon as I figure out where my car is. Guess I'll just keep following blazes, and gonna go get something to eat. And with that, I'm gonna end it, and thanks for watching. I really enjoyed this trip, and I'm glad you guys came along, and I'll see you next time.